or was it not, from McCall's Patterns? So what we're doing today is I'm going to be sharing 24 patterns that I think our sewers picked up in 2024. Now, I just want to make a big old caveat. This is not ranked from number 24 to number 1, the top pattern. These are just 24 patterns that McCall's, McCall's brand, that I think our sewers picked up in 2024. So if that's some content that you would like to see and you are intrigued to know what made the list, then please continue to watch. Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. It's your girl Rochelle from Rochelle.Handmade.Designs. In this video, I'm going to be sharing with you guys the top 24 patterns that us sewers pretty much picked up in 2024. Now, if you are new to the channel, welcome. And if you are returning, you guys know what to do. Quick snack, something to drink, and let's go ahead and vibe. I'm gonna say bring your notebook. However, a lot of these patterns you probably already picked up. But if you missed them, this is your time to get them during the next sale. So without further ado, to keep this video short, sweet, and give you all the deets, let's go ahead and get right on into it. All right, so like I mentioned, this is not in any particular order from like number 24 to number 1. These are in order of ascending order, easy to put up on the screen, all right? So let's go ahead and get right on into these 24 McCall patterns, all right? So first pattern up is Brandy Jones pattern. Now, I know people have sewn this pattern. My girl Deja made this pattern. And it's McCall. They're all McCall, so we're just gonna start saying the numbers after this, okay? But it's McCall's 8447. And this pattern right here is like your relaxed fit loungewear set, okay? 8447, congratulations, Brandy Jones. This pattern is sick. And when I say it's sick, like I like the fact that it is so relaxed fit. Guess what? It made the list. If it's relaxed for me and relaxed for everyone else, this pattern needs to make this list. So once again, this pattern is 8447. Next pattern up, 8448. Want to give a shout out to Tish from McCall's.Designs. She did this pattern earlier in the year when it first dropped. It is McCall's 8448. Now, one thing about this pattern, a lot of us ran out and picked up, is simply because you could color block it. You don't have to, but you can. This pattern is also an easy to sew pattern. I know there's someone else that did this pattern, but the first person that comes to my mind with this pattern is Letitia, which is McCall's.Designs. Look her up on Instagram, fabulous lady. Thank you so much for highlighting this pattern, and it made the list, all right? So once again, it's 8448. Let's go ahead and talk about the next one. The next pattern is 8449, and we know our girl Brittany J. Jones did a complete sew along for this pattern. Now, this pattern was originally on my list for hashtag Battle of the Shirt Dress for McCall's. But I decided against that one because you guys know how it is when stuff drop, we tend to change it to the new drop, which in 2025, there is a caveat for Battle of the Shirt or shirt dresses. You just have to stay tuned for the spring to see Battle of the Shirt, the Battle of the Shirt or shirt dress is coming back, okay? Tongue-tied a little bit today, but we gonna go ahead and make it, all right? But once again, this pattern is 8449. Moving over to the next pattern. Next one up, 8451. 8451. And this one, okay, so listen, Mimi G did this pattern like 2 or 3 times throughout the year. And every one that she have done looked really, really good. This pattern was actually on my list to sew as a top for hashtag Battle of the Shirt Dress. I decided not to do that because I wanted to make sure that I only did 4 patterns, and I already had a McCall pattern that I wanted to do. So I just went ahead and put this one back in the stash. But I want to do this one really, really bad just to wear to work. But once again, it's 8451. Let's go ahead and move over to the next one. Next pattern that made the list was a trend that a lot of us hopped on. I did not sew this skirt, but Raven Marine did this skirt. They did it on live. Black Sewing Network did it on a live. It's McCall's 8452. So Bubba skirts was the trend that a lot of people went ahead and was like, I need a bubble skirt this year. So I'm just going to say it looked really good on Raven. And Raven was the one who did the sew along for this pattern. If you missed it, make sure you go over to her channel and check it out. I'm not sure if it's on her channel or if it's on the Simplicity, I think Simplicity Creative Group or Simplicity Patterns or whatever it's called, McCall Patterns. I don't know what's the YouTube channel that they're using right now. But I know that Raven from Raven Marine did the sew along for this pattern. But once again, it is the bubble skirt and it's gorgeous. Let's go ahead and move over to the next pattern. Next up is a romper, and this one is 8454. Now I know a lot of people called Shamir out for this one and was like, Shamir, girl, you would look good in this pattern. You would definitely hack this pattern and make it do what it do. I would love to see Shamir do this pattern, because if you are not following Shamir from Shim So Creative, she did this, I think it was a dress, and she put like a little bag on it, and it looks so amazing. Listen, I don't need to say nothing. Just go to her Instagram channel and you can check it out for yourself, because listen, that was so cute. And when this pattern dropped, I literally hit Shamir up and was like, Shamir, I could definitely see you doing this pattern. Okay. Once again, it's 8454. Get into that pattern, y'all. Okay. If you slept on the pattern, then when it came out in the spring, don't sleep on it now. Get it before it's out of Joann. And I'm telling you guys this because I'm not saying like I got the tea, but your girl be having the tea, just mingling in Joann's with some team members, okay? That Joann tends not to have the next year spring deals. Let me rephrase that. Joann tends to get rid of the spring patterns from the previous year when the new spring patterns dropped in the store. So if you do not have 2023 spring, early spring or spring patterns, now's your time to get some. Okay? Now's your time to do so. If you don't have them, get them. Run. Because if you miss any patterns, I'm recapping the top 24 for a reason. Hello. All right, so let's go ahead and get into the next pattern. Next one, 8456. Now this one is a loungewear pattern that I think would be so amazing for you guys to pick up, easy to sew. Like I would say like this would be easy to sew as well in terms of the number of pattern pieces, only elastic, you get my drift, all right? But this one is 8456. Moving over to the next pattern. Next up is a loose fitting jumpsuit. Now, this one is 8456. I'm sorry, 8457. And with this one, like, I love what it's given. I love it. I love it. Okay. So I want to sew this pattern for the summertime for summer vibes. Okay. But once again, it's 8457. Moving over to the next one. Next one, come on. It is your cargo pants. Yes, it's 8458, and y'all know your girl loves some cargo pants, okay? Now, I want to say, I believe this one was done by C from We See Style at the very beginning of the year. This was actually part of her hashtag Make9 2024. So C did like a gray color, I think it was a twill or a nylon. I don't know if it was nylon or twill fabric. I would have to go all the way back in her videos to see that, but she did this pattern. And this was on my list to sew during my red and pink board at the beginning of the year, but things happen throughout the year. Like 2024 has been a lot of things of happening, both good and bad. There is a event that happened back in September. I was gone for 6 days. I know a lot of you guys Would love for me to share that story, but like I told you, I'm just not ready to share that story yet. I may share it in 2025. I may not share it in 2025. When I'm ready to share the story, just know that my YouTube family and my Instagram family will hear the story at some point. All right. Just know that at some point I will share. All right. But this was on my list to sew. And with the things that have happened, both highs and lows, I'm going to say it's been more highs than lows, but definitely note that quarter three, when I say quarter three, I'm talking about July, August, September timeframe was my worst 3 months this year. And it literally pushed me to leave one job that I'm not going to say bad things. There were things that were great and things that were bad at the previous company. And not to get too far off into a tangent or anything, there were things that have happened that led me to leave that job with nothing lined up to be great at a new job that values me. Okay. So I talked a little bit about it on Instagram, but I'm going to just say that and we'll talk and discuss that in another video. All right. So let's go ahead and move over to the next one. All right. So the next pattern is 8475. And this one, my girl, Joanna from So Very Jo, she did this one for South Florida Frock Tales this year. So yes, I did attend South Florida Frock Tales in Fort Lauderdale this year. Lovely host Joanna and Diana, my dynamic duo. If you don't know, they actually have 3 amigas, okay? That is Jo, Rail, and Diana. When you see one, you normally see all 3. It's not like you see one, you see the other one. You see one, you see the other one for the sake of Fort Lauderdale. But at these events, any type of party events, froctors or whatever, you see all 3. They are the 3 amigas, all right? But yeah, this pattern is 8475. Let's go ahead and get over to the next pattern. Next up is 8477, a great shirt dress. I think there was a sew along for this one. I'm not 100% sure on this one. I feel like many picked it up because it was a shirt dress, but am I sold on this pattern? I did pick it up, to be honest with you, but I could see a couple of hacks for this one. But once again, it's 8477. Moving over to the next pattern. Next up is 8478. Now this one made the list because it is actually a corset. So many individuals were doing corsets all year long, okay? So this one made the list because corsets was making a hit this year as well as skirts, okay? So this one made the list and this pattern is 8478. Let's go ahead and talk about the next pattern. Next up, a gorgeous dress. Let's thank the ladies of Sew Your View, okay, which is Monica. That's so Monica, all right? So Monica decided to have this dress featured, I believe it was May of this year. And guess who was the featured host? Stacy from So Stacy. So she was the host for McCall's 8505. So if you're not following on Instagram, make sure you are following her on Instagram. She makes lovely stuff, okay? If you don't know, you're missing out, okay? When I tell you to go follow somebody, just don't ask me questions. Just go ahead and follow them. I would not steer you the wrong way, okay? Your girl ain't steering you no wrong way. If I'm telling you the pattern sells every week, right? You still running to get the patterns, right? So run and follow the ladies that I mentioned in this video. You're welcome. I'm going to say thank you. And now you're going to say, you're welcome, right? Or de nada. All right. So anyway, this is 8505. This was the Sew Your View for the month of, I believe it was the month of May or June, summertime, summer vibes, okay? But this one definitely made the list. Now, your girl, which is me, Mumwa, I did not do this pattern for 2 reasons. One, because I was so stressed out in June, July, August time frame, September, part of September as well. I definitely have a lot up top. But when I seen Auntie Monica tackle this dress in a white, I was like, yes. Yes, baby. But is there anything that Monica just don't kill? When she saw a pattern, she be killing it. So yes, once again, this is 8505. Let's go ahead and get into the next pattern. Next up, I'm gonna say this is the Relaxed Fit on the Beach dress, 8506. Now, many of us picked it up because this one is pretty much your tiered dress, but it's just so simple, okay? It's just rectangles, basically. It's just rectangles. So I feel like many of us, if the McCall patterns would have dropped a lot sooner than what they dropped, if you know, you know, like, I'm going to say Simplicity has gotten better on dropping patterns in its season instead of dropping it too far out of the season. If you know, you know. What I mean by that is the summer patterns dropped a little late. This pattern dropped pretty much towards the end of summer instead of at the very beginning of summer. If we were given more time to sew it during the season, I'm pretty sure many of us would have sewed this pattern in its season. Now, before anyone go off on me, because I know I'm going to get some, some comments when I say this, but Simplicity, right? If we could definitely have like the early spring patterns, and you don't have to agree with me. I'm saying like the viewers, you don't have to agree with me. If you agree with me, go ahead and say, girl, you got this, right? But early spring patterns, if we could have those dropped before, because you got to remember going inside Joann's, which literally I only go to inside Joann's to tell y'all the pattern sale. I've been ordering everything in PDF on simplicity.com to alleviate having to, one, go to Joann's and two, wait for patterns, okay? But anyway, early spring patterns, in my eyes, should be out on the market by February. And the reason why I say that is because the spring actually starts March 17th. So if we had the patterns for viewing, you know, a week or two before that March 17th date, we would be A-okay to sew it in the season. Summer patterns. Summer starts June 20th, the day of my son's birthday. So if we were able to see what the patterns were going to be before summer start, we could pretty much go back. Like I would say like definitely summer patterns should be dropping a month ahead of time to where we have at least 3 months to sew the pattern. If it's dropping a week or two before the summer starts, we have to wait for Joann's to get them, which a month later. So you're already 2 months down. So I'm just saying like, I know it's kind of hard to figure it out, but one solution that I would say is just have spring, summer, fall, winter patterns, 4 seasons. That's it. 4 pattern drops for each brand. And that's it. Don't even have to worry about the early spring, the early fall, and all that stuff. And the reason why I say that is simply because by the time those early spring patterns drop, you're dropping early spring and spring together. You're dropping early fall and fall together. Now, like I said, you do not have to agree with me, and that's perfectly fine. But I'm just saying like what would make sense for a sewist, all right? But let's go ahead and come back to center, right? Bring it down a notch, and let's go ahead and get into the next pattern. All right, next up, 8507. I'm sorry, y'all. 8507 is a dress that many of us considered picking up, myself included. And I did pick this pattern up because I like the fact that you have that deep V-neck, but you also have a nice flowy skirt. So that's the one reason why I picked it up. But once again, it's 8507. Next pattern is 8508. And this pattern is a shirt dress. So this one is an average to sew pattern. I feel like this shirt dress could be one that you pick up to wear it open for work. I feel like many sewers probably pick this pattern up only as a guide to hack. Me, myself, and I picked it up pretty much to hack, okay? But once again, this is 8508. Moving over to the next pattern. Next up, 8512. Now, I know one of the twins. Was it Nikki or was it Kiki? I don't know which one. I want to say that I think it was Nikki. I think it was Nikki who actually made this pattern on Instagram. And she did it in a color block very early on in the year. I want to say by summertime. And it was amazing. But once again, it's McCall's 8512. You can also see it in the plus size as well. But yeah, 8512 made the list. Let's go ahead and get on to the next pattern. Next up, I know Mimi did the sew along for this pattern. And it's 8514. And this one, I like this pattern. I want to do this one, but I don't know if I'm able to add sleeves onto it because, you know, I am a girl who do not like a lot of sleeveless stuff. My arms are fine. They're fine. Don't get me wrong. But it's just, I love to have a sleeve and have that option of rolling it up, bringing it back down, depending on if I make short sleeve, you know, elbow length sleeve, 3/4 sleeve, long sleeve, whatever. I like to have that option. So I'm not like a big fan of sleeveless whatsoever, but I think this one is super cute. But once again, it's 8514. Moving over to the next pattern. Next up is the famous #SewCaptain 2024 challenge that happened this year. Yeah, your girl memory is amazing, if I do say so myself. All right, but this one is 8516. Now, if you don't remember, there was back in July, Simplicity put on #SewCaptain 2024 where you had to sew a caftan pattern. This pattern was part of it, and I'm pretty sure many sewers picked it up to participate in that challenge in July. So it made the list. 8516 is the pattern, a caftan pattern. All right, let's go ahead and move over to the next pattern. Next up, let's go ahead and call out Shamir from Shim So Creative. Like, one thing I want to mention, let me pause right here because Shamir had like a really good year. And the reason why I say that is because she showed up for herself. She showed up for other ladies in the sewing community. She has been on live on TikTok. She has participated in a lot of my challenge. So I really want to thank Shamir for not only showing up as her authentic self, but also being a inspiration for the sewing community. Because listen, Shamir puts out fire pieces, and if you ask her, now I'm not saying everybody, don't go bum rushing Shamir to ask her to be a part of your challenges. She can only be a part of my challenges. Yes, I said that, okay? No, I'm just joking. But anyway, Shamir has definitely stepped up all year long for me. I just want to thank Shamir, you know, completely from the bottom of my heart. Thank you, Shamir, for not only being a part of a lot of challenges, but she is a girl's girl for real. And when I say, like, you ask Shamir for like patterns, how to do different things, she doesn't hesitate to tell you. She's not gatekeeping or anything like that. So thank you, Shamir. But this one that I'm going to tell you is 8528. And this pattern, I could definitely see Shamir doing. So yeah, Shamir, honey, write this down on your list to do. I would love to see you kill it in 2025. But once again, this pattern that made the list is 8528. Let's go ahead and get into the next pattern. Next up is 8531, which is a pair of bell bottoms, okay? Basically bell bottoms. Now, this pattern made the list simply because it's different. It's different. You know what I mean? And a lot of us was like, the bell bottoms is back from the 70s. Yes, ma'am. So picked it up. But once again, not to get into too many details, it's 8531. Let's go ahead and get into the next pattern. Next up is the bolero jacket, which is 8533. I don't need to say much about it because a lot of us was like, yes, I want that jacket. When I looked at so many of the ladies on YouTube's video on the patterns that they want to pick up during the drop of the fall patterns, this one was on a lot of our lists, right? So a lot of us was like, I want to get that pattern. I got this pattern as well. So it made the list, 8533. Let's go ahead and get into the last two patterns that's on the list. So next up is 8534. You guys know Raven Marine, she did the sew along for this pattern. It made the list, and it made the list because this would be a great holiday jumpsuit for you to do. So I don't need to say too much detail. Definitely go over to the Sew Along by Raven Marine. All right, let's get into the last pattern to wrap up the top 24 patterns that us sewers picked up in 2024. The last pattern is 8535. This is a rope pattern, and you guys know Brittany J. Jones came out throwing some bows with this pattern, okay? She made this pattern and looked amazing in this pattern. This pattern is 8535. Well, those are all 24 patterns of McCall brand that I think us sewers picked up in 2024. Was it hard to choose? Absolutely not. But those are the 24 patterns that I think us sewers picked up in 2024. Well, that's it for this video. I hope you enjoyed. And if this video was educational, inspiring, and fun, you guys know what to do. Give your girl a like, 2 thumbs up on the video. Subscribe to the channel if you have not done so already. And I will catch you in the next one. Until next time, keep sewing.